Hello YouTube and welcome to the second lesson in the rock and roll guitar lessons. This time I'll be covering something called vibrato and something called a bend. First of all, I'm going to show you what a bend is, and then I'm going to show what a vibrato is. The difference between a vibrato and a bend is the bend, you're holding the note. The vibrato is vocal-like, when the singer goes all wobbly with his nose and with his voice, and it sounds so beautiful. But first of all, I'm going to show you what the bend is. And the bend looks like, from the 7th fret on the 3rd string, it looks like this and sounds like this. Vibrato, on the other hand, it sounds like this and also looks like this. The difference between the bend and vibrato is that when I'm making a vibrato, I'm using my wrist to wobble my finger around and making it almost look like this. When I'm bending, I'm using my wrist and pulling it upward on the strings that are from... We have the strings 1st, 2nd, 3rd. Those strings always go upwards when you're bending, because otherwise you do not have that much room to bend on. Sometimes I'll be bending down on the 3rd string too, but that's only in case of when I'm using my index finger to bend with, like this. Otherwise, the 3 strings that goes down is the top 3 strings. That would mean the 4th, the 5th, and the 6th. So when you're bending those strings, you'll go down, like this. Everything that I do is right here in my wrist. That means that I'm using my wrist to pull down the string, and I'm using my wrist to pull up the string. So the lick today I'll be learning you, the guitar riff I'll be learning you today is a really commonly used rock and roll guitar lick. It sounds like this. It's pretty easy to learn if you want to sit down and practice it. Pretty easy to learn. It's a common shape and it's pretty nice to play around with. The way you do it is by using your right hand. I'm gonna show you this here. You are gonna use your right hand, and then you're gonna go down, 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 up, down, which means that you're on the 3rd string, starting on the 3rd string, going down, and then you're on the 2nd string, going down, 1st string, going down, back up to the 2nd string, and then down again. It sounds like this slowly. That's the shape for your right hand, which means that you'll go down while bending, then down, down again, up to the 2nd string, make the bend on the 2nd string while vibratoing. That's the right hand shape. If you practice that a lot, then it will be easier to play. You'll be having no trouble synchronizing your right hand at least. Then it's time for synchronizing with your left hand. The left hand plays my left hand. If you are left-handed, then your right hand will play this that my left hand just will play now, and your left hand played that what my right hand just did. The thing you're gonna do, you're taking your ring finger, placing it on the 7th fret of the 3rd string from the bottom. We're always counting from the bottom, which means that the 1st string is the high E string, the string that's closer to your hand here, this part of your hand. That's the E string. The B string is the 2nd string. The G string is the 3rd string. Starting out here on the 7th fret on the 3rd string. This note sounds like this. Then we'll have to bend it. That means we'll have to bend it upwards because we're going down with our index finger on the 5th fret, but that will be later. So first of all, we'll have to get the bend right. Remember to pause the video if you want to see how I'm doing this. Want to see where my fingers are. But then we're plugging the note and bending the string upward. It has to sound like 2 frets higher. So which means that when I start here, it has to sound like the fretted note on the 9th fret. Because that's the next note in the sequence that we are gonna play and pluck with our right hand. Practice that a few times and make sure that you get it right. And yeah, the next note we'll be playing is with our index finger on the 5th fret, and we are kind of holding them down, both of the strings, with our index finger. And yeah, those sounds that's on the 5th fret on the B and E string. That's the 1st and 2nd string right here. Remember to put your finger as close to the frets as possible, not over the fret, because that will sound like this. Put them right before the fret, and then it'll sound. That will give it the best sound. That's my experience. So now we have these 3 notes. Practice these 3 notes. Pause my video and practice a lot. Remember to practice, that's pretty important. So now we got this down. Then with our right hand, if you're left-handed, that's your left hand, we're going back to the B string again, the 2nd string. Which means we're now playing this. This is where it gets tricky, because then you'll have to play two notes on the same string. That means you'll have to economy picking. That's a term that I'll explain later on when we get into some deeper lessons. Or maybe if you ask me then in the Q&A that I'll be doing later on. It means that you're picking up and down, like we're doing almost now. Down, 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 up, down, on the same string. It means that we're going 3rd string, 2nd string, 1st string, 2nd string, and 2nd string. Now that we have these in, these notes in, you take your ring finger and place it on the 8th fret of the 2nd string, and then you are going to bend it, and then you're going to give it a wobble with your wrist. It will sound like this. Now that if you're sitting down, pause my video with the guitar, and then you're going to practice a little bit now. I don't care for how long you practice, but what I care is that you do, because when you practice that, you get better. And yeah, try it again. Play with me, and I'm going to play slow. Up to speed. That means that when you think they're ready. Sometimes it's a good idea to take a metronome and make it a tempo that you can follow. Which means go to the internet and search for, or otherwise I'll put a link in the description below here, for a metronome on the net. It will make it easier for you to follow up than when you're counting 1, 2, 3, 4. And then remember to always have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, which means that it's 2 times 4, this little riff. So when you're counting in with the music and with the metronome, it will go like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's how you play it. Now, up to speed, it will sound a little bit like this. And yeah, that was the lesson of today. See you next time.